let's speak about our expectations versus the reality
Mm.
and how we think Team South Africa did. Because I mean, we've doubled our medal count since Tokyo, and it's our third most successful Olympics after, I believe it was, I think it's not Beijing, it was Athens, then London,
Mm.
which was the same amount of medals but more golds in that one. So in theory, our third most successful, and then also the third time we've ended up on 6 medals. So how do you look back? Do you look back at this as a success or failure for South African athletics
It's
and
such a
or the
difficult
Olympic
one.
Committee?
Yeah, it's such a difficult one because, in theory, we know we've doubled our medal count, so it's got to be a step forward. I still find it disappointing because I just think, we are such a talented sporting nation. We know this. And it's a case of so many of these athletes are getting medals despite, our Olympic Committee, if you're going to be brutally honest, in terms of the support they receive.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about, the fact that, Bayanda's school had to contribute towards getting his coach over there,
Yeah.
things like that. And Joanne van Dijk talking about the fact that, her parents were, have been really, really helpful for her because, she couldn't get the support she needed from, from a financial point of view. Her parents have been supporting her career over the last few years. Now she's a silver medalist. So, and the problem is it's always retrospective help because now I'd be like, oh, cool, well, she's won a medal, so now we need to make sure no, she was a medal prospect before going into this and things like Adam Hathaway, we all know that cycling is not particularly well funded. So I think it's frustrating because these people are winning medals despite the lack of support that they get. And
Yeah, not as a
there's
result
no
of.
reason why we can't be a 15, 16, even up to 20 medals type of country. So it's a step in the right direction. But unfortunately, unless we kick on, unless this becomes oh shit, like we can actually compete, let's start looking at this with a bit more seriousness, then it kind of means nothing for me. I think we, Sadcock, I've been so critical of it in the past. Lots of their money going towards football and things like that. And you're sitting there going, why? Why are we not investing into our swimming program, which always produces medals?
Yeah, we have such an abundance of natural athletes in South Africa. Like we do well in all sports that we have dedicated resources to. Just look at rugby as an example of how good the schoolboy system leads into the university system, leads into our club rugby, and then obviously international team, and that's finally come off the back of like a really solid base. And as you said, in spite of the lack of funding, it's the flash in the pan person who manages to get through the ranks and then makes a name for themselves. And you know what? We actually have a lot to be grateful for like international, the international stage that a lot of our athletes are hosted on. If you look at Sean Masangawi, he's in USA, same as Antoine Norkia, the 4x400 meter runner. So, and to be honest, I think, USA came out on top in this Olympics, and it just goes to show what that funding gets them. So, yeah, I think I agree with you. A step in the right direction. You like, it didn't look like we were going to get as high as 6 at a point. It almost looked like after Akani missed out on that on the 100 meter, it's like, geez, we don't know where the next one's going to come from. But the 4x100 was super special, and obviously the javelin throw from John van Dijk. So yeah, I think overall happy, but it's just you wish that there was more investment.
Yeah, because there can be so many more medals. There's, and it's just for me, I want to see a report from Sascock, and I don't want to see a report idolizing the 6 medals and how phenomenal it was, etc., etc. I want to see, have we improved overall? Are we seeing a higher percentage of athletes getting into semis, into finals? Because we were doing the social media, and last week was a bit of a depressing time when Dan was doing the social media and I was reading the updates, because it was congratulations on these two, you did this, unfortunately they're not progressing. And that was kind of like the standard thing. And, I don't think they should be looking at this and going, cool, we went from 3 medals to 6 medals, massive success. First of all, one of those medals was Sevens, which is fully funded by SA Rugby, so Sascock can't really claim much credit for that. We're losing Tatiana Smith into the next Olympics. She's retired, so that's 50% of the medals. One of them which will be fully funded by Acer Rugby. The other one's Tatiana, who's leaving. So we've got 4 athletes or 4 potential medals in terms of who could be competitive next Olympics. That's can't be the only focus of this report when we sent a team of 160, 170, our biggest team ever. So were we progressing into better finishes across the board? Were we getting into more semis, more finals? Are we getting closer to winning medals? And if not, why not? And how do we get the performances? We want to see. We're never going to be a Australia, US Team GB. We just don't have the resources right now. Down the line, maybe. But I mean, I've always said we should be dominating the Africa medal table. We did our best. I think we came third. I think it was after
Kenya. No,
Kenya,
second
after Kenya. And we know that Kenya got amazing runners. But I mean, Kenya systematically beats us every year based purely on athletics. We do compete.
We do have an array of talent. We do cover the board. I mean, we had our first ever archer this year. We always what's really slipped up is our rowing hasn't been at its peak. That's something we used to always be contending for. There's even a space I believe that our hockey could get there. We just need to again get more funding into it, both men's and women's. So the opportunity is there for us. Like, we have the talent pool that can rival, I think, a lot of the best in the world, and certainly push into the top 20 of the medal count. We ended up in 44th, obviously largely due to just the only getting 1 gold. That's going to shift you right back down. But I mean, it's super interesting. If you look at the top 5: USA, China, Japan, Australia, France, the real one that stands out for me is Australia and how much they are able to punch above their weight. And in terms from a population size to medal count is incredible what they're able to do, not just kind of per capita, but also to be up there in terms of, really high numbers in the top 5 in a small country just shows how much they invest in their athletes. And they're also a really strong sporting country, and show that, put their money where their mouth is. But Stevie, we've also got a medal count, and it's a population per medal. And interestingly, this is the top 5. In one is Grenada coming out. So 56,000 people per medal. They won 2 bronzes. Dominica was second, and that would have only that was 1 gold, 1 silver, which, to be fair, was just one. Oh no, I was thinking of St. Lucia. I was going to say Julian Alfred, but that's not Dominica. Next one is St. Lucia in third, which is 1 gold, 1 silver. That's 92,000 per person. Fourth is New Zealand. They won 10 golds, 7 silvers, and 3 bronze. That's 266,000 people per medal. And then Bahrain, 2 golds, 1 silver, 1 bronze, 425,000 people. And then Jamaica in 6th, who had really otherwise quite a disappointing Olympics, because my word, the drop off in their talent, considering
1 goal, and it came in discus.
Discus and shot put. I believe they were. No, they got a goal. They got a medal in the shot put, but didn't win gold. That was the USA gen. But I mean that running team has really, unfortunately, had a really bad Olympics. So it's a pity to see.
Yeah, it was an interesting one, really, watching Jamaica, and I was a really emotional interview. I think it was from the woman shot putter, and she spoke about the fact that, once again, a little bit like South Africans, it's in spite of the lack of support. They talk about the fact that they always sort of talk about the track and how much support the track is, but the success of this games came in the field, and they were saying that the field is just completely ignored all the time. They don't get any of the support. So it was an interesting interview, because the track has been traditionally where Jamaica have been so strong, and yet this Olympics they didn't really pitch up on the track. So it was an interesting one, but it goes to show, and you look like a New Zealand, for example. talent can only get you so far, but 99%, when you look at a lot of these medal stories and stuff like that, it's especially in countries where there's not a lot of investment, it'll almost be like sometimes not a fluke, but it'll be like their athlete got an opportunity to go like study in America and suddenly win a high performance program.
Julian Alfred, for example, she's at university there.
Money breeds success. It's very simple. You can have the best athletes in the world, which I think South Africa do, without the right structures, without the right coach, without the right facilities, without the right backing, they're not going to perform.
I mean, fundamentally, it comes down to, can I make a living out of this? Like, I need to put food on the table at the end of the evening. And 90% of South African athletes are have to ditch their career aspirations as a result of that, pursuing, a professional career outside of the athletics or any other Olympic venture. But let's quickly touch on just some of the events from the last week. And what you mentioned that, there was a lot of disappointment in not making it through. But what I was really impressed was, I think we set a lot of PBs, Stevie, and I think the frustration is that I think those PBs can be better. But from I think performance standpoint, you have to take your hat off to our South African athletes for doing what they did, because, geez, it was impressive. First of all, to the 4x400 meter relay, we almost got knocked out in the semi-final. I was actually at the Stade de France for that. Oh, it was super emotional, just like seeing, there was actually a guy, Antoine Nortje's, there was a guy with a poster, and it said, "That's my grandson," and a picture of Antoine Nortje and a big South African flag. I could see him from far away. I was like, oh, that's super special. He proceeds to get tripped over, and then we lost that race whilst we were coming, I think, third or fourth at the time. So I was just like, no, like, this poor Oaks come all the way from South Africa. And then luckily we got to the final and ended up, I think, coming fifth in that and setting a new national record of 2:58.
As well as shoving France off the track.
Yeah. To be fair, and that was him as well. That was Nortje. Nortje was like, I've been down this road before. Someone touched in front of me. I tripped. Like, look, get out of the way. And he didn't get disqualified, so he was in his right.
That's proper. Yeah, but it's a bit proper move.
I was also staying with a Frenchman in Paris, so there's always just like a bit of contention, between South Africa and France, and that just added a little bit more to that spice. But yeah, a good national record from then. We had Brian Raats finished 12th in the men's high jump. Obviously, Joanne van Dijk getting her silver with a throw of 63.93. And then 11th for Alroy Gelant. That was an unbelievable marathon race from him. I mean, to get in the top 10 would have been insane. The veteran, and Stephen Makoka, not too far behind. He came 27th. Then two PBs in the women's 400-meter hurdles from Rigel Joseph, 54.12, and Zenny Geldenes, 53.90. Both not getting to the finals, but again, coming 9th and 10th, still an incredible achievement. And then Julia Vincent, the 3-meter springboard, making it to the 3-meter springboard final for the first ever South African to do that. She came 11th in the end. And then lastly, there was, was it Andrew Burkett and Lovemore, the canoers, who ended up coming first in the B final. So all really, really solid, showings, just not quite, either just missing out on the final, or once getting to the final, often not getting really too close. We weren't, like, other than Akani, we didn't really actually have too many people that, our good friend Drip King H2O, who like just were in like that fifth position, who just were close to the medals. We didn't really have too many of those.
Yeah, I think it goes to show, this is why, for example, I always advocate for a bigger team, because we're seeing personal best. We're seeing like career best performances. People step up to a different level when it comes to the Olympics. And, we would not have been sending Alroy Gelant thinking he's going to come back and come in at 11th. There was never, I don't think anybody would have predicted that, for example. But people bring out these once-a-lifetime performances. And this is why, we need the funding, so that we can even sometimes send those fringe people, because on the day, maybe they step it up. Maybe they can produce that once in a lifetime performance.
Yeah.
But we'll never know if we're not sending those sort of people and stuff like that. So I think it was a really good showing for especially in that moment there to get PBs in when it counts, for example.
And just give them more opportunity to run competitively, and they'll break more PBs, and they'll get faster.
Some of these people would have been running, some of these people have run, couple of like world events, but a lot of these people are competing on the international stage sometimes for the first time. Because they just don't get that opportunity regularly enough, unless they're good enough, really good enough to be really well funded. So it's an interesting one. So there's a lot to think about for Sascock, and especially somebody like a Brandon Valjar, just because I know him. He's a Red Bull athlete, skateboarder, so he sort of travels around the world on the circuit. I would love to know what support is he getting from Sascock. Is it one of those things where absolutely nothing, he qualifies for the Olympics, and then Sascock sends him a DM saying, "Oh, cool, Laka, we're going to include you in the team, and we'll just pay for you to go to the Olympics." But is he getting support in between then? Is he and how does that support work? Is there a performance review every year, and Sascock, right, cool, how are you guys doing in the circle? Cool, you're on track over here. Here's a grant, for example. And stuff like that. That's the kind of thing that maybe we'll endeavor to try and find out, do a bit of an exploration into how some of these athletes are funded and what support they get. Because I remember speaking to Chad Leclerc's father, Bert Leclerc, after his gold medal. And he was saying, obviously, that they are inundated with requests for Chad to go and be a guest speaker. And he says, at the end of the day, they've got limited amount of time and they've got no money. So he said, if you want to pay him 10,000 Rand to come be your guest speaker, we can do that. But he has to try and find ways of monetizing all his time, because he doesn't have, the financial backing to just support his
endeavors,
his career. 400,000 Rand for Olympic gold, for example, that's paying for not even 6 months of a professional athlete's, schedule in terms of traveling and training and coaches. Somebody like Christian Bezuidenhout, I spoke to his coach. He's a golfer, and it costs him $200,000 a season to run his team. He travels with a coach, with a strength and conditioning, with physio, the whole team, the fees, the whole thing. $200,000. For him to compete internationally, and he's on the PGA Tour, so it's right top of the top. But it shows you how expensive it is for these athletes to compete at this sort of level.
Absolutely, and I think, speaking of athletes performing at the absolute level, we're going to go through a couple top threes, Stevie, and we're going to break them down like this. I think top three performers at the Olympics, top three hero moments at the Olympics, top three meme-worthy moments, and then top three failures, and then also a couple, three worst events to be kicked out, and three events I'd like to bring in. So I'm going to pitch these to you, and then I think we together we can decide which make our top three. So our nominations for the top three performers is Simone Biles, first of all, becoming the greatest gymnast of all time with 11 Olympic medals. She won 3 golds and 1 bronze, and 1 silver. And she also became the oldest ever gymnast to win gold at 27 years old.
That's mental. We're finished. We're spent, Dan. We're done.
It's ridiculous. But then it's Sifan Hassan from the Netherlands, originally from Ethiopia. She ran and medaled in the 5K, the 10K, and then 2 days after the 10K,
had a day off.
Had 1 day off, and then ran the marathon, winning gold. And I was there live for that. If you've seen the replay, there was almost a trip up against the barrier as Sifan was overtaking right on the line, or with like 200 meters to go, rather. And I can't tell you how quick they were running, Stevie. My word, I don't think.
I saw a phone video, and those videos really give you the thing, and they were absolutely motoring.
No, it was ridiculous. So, so to win bronze in the 5, 10K, and then marathon gold with an Olympic record, it was her record. Of course, Leon Marchand, the French swimmer, winning 4 golds, 2 of which happened in the same evening, a couple hours apart. And he also, I think he got a bronze on top of that. So 5 medals in total, and just, I think, was the star boy of the French team. Then we had, the rest, the two others are also swimmers, and it's Molly O'Callaghan from Australia. She won 5 medals, 3 golds, 1 silver, 1 bronze. And then a special shout out to the person who won the most medals at the Olympics was Zhang Yufei from China. I mean, I feel pretty gutted for her. She won 1 silver and 5 bronzes. Surely you exchange one of those medals, one of those 4 golds.
For
you know
golds.
what I mean? I'll take
that's
3.
How
three
many
medals.
how many of those bronzes would you exchange for that gold?
All of them.
All 6 for 1 gold, eh?
I think so. Honestly,
I think so as well.
I mean, geez, I don't know about all 6 medals. I think I'd rather take 1 gold, 1 silver than 1 silver and 5 bronze. Jeez, I don't know. That's tough.
I think I'd take 1 gold over all 6 medals. To be fair,
yeah, that
Olympic champion, watching your flag being raised, national anthem. I think that trumps any
heritage.
Like you must be sitting on the podium after your 5th bronze, going, yeah,
that's tough. That's tough.
They're gonna rename this step after me at this rate.
Yeah. Okay. So from those, Stevie, who's jumps out at you as your 1, 2, and 3?
I think, to be fair, probably the first 3. I mean, Sifan Hassan has to be there. I mean, I
think for me, Sifan Hassan has to take number 1. I think
top 4. Yeah, I think that is phenomenal.
To be that adaptable to a 5, 10, and marathon. I mean,
if anybody's ever run, coach. I mean, 5,000 compared to 42K. Like, I mean, I know 5,000 is distance as regard
as well.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's a whole different, a 5K run versus a marathon runner.
Interchangeable. Like it's completely different. That swimming is a technique change, not a nutrition and training change.
Yeah. No, it's and to, as I said, to run the 10,000. Look, she was lucky in that the 10,000 there's no heats or anything like that, so it was a once-off race as well. But those 10,000s are sub 30 minutes.
Imagine they had heats for the marathon, heat semi-final.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's what we're bringing in next. It's an 11-day. I mean, it's like a 14-day Olympics, 15-day Olympics. Day 1, bang, marathon heats, and then a final.
Exactly. So I think I'm happy to give her 1. I think Simone Biles probably 2, being the oldest ever gymnast to win gold. All of her teenage competitors.
I think there's an argument for Leon Marchand to grab 2. To be fair,
I'm happy with
home games. He's 22 years old.
Yeah. Okay.
Says thank you very much.
Let's give that to him then. Okay, that's our top 3: Sifan Hassan, Leon Marchand, and then Simone Biles. Now our top 3 meme-worthy moments. Yusuf Chech, the Turkish shooter /
Olympian.
Hitman. Yeah, sorry. I mean, everyone says you don't remember whoever came second, and he proved that statement completely false. So obviously, everyone emulating his celebrations. Of course, our 4x100 meter champions, and then Rachel Gunn was the Australian breaking competitor. A little bit about her and her background. So I've done a bit of research. So she actually is a lecturer at the University of Marikey in Sydney. She's actually lecturing in like contemporary music. She focuses on street dance, hip hop, youth culture, and gender and politics. She actually has a PhD titled Deterritorializing Gender in Sydney's breakdancing scene, a B-girl's experience of B-boying, focused on the intersection of gender in Sydney's breaking culture. So she's clearly a part of it all. And she's previously practiced jazz, tap, ballroom dancing, and actually, apparently, despite the ridicule that she's been receiving online, she obviously competed and qualified for the event, winning the Oceania title, but also practices apparently 3 to 4 hours a day. So, but we have to speak about that rendition, let's call it, of a dancing sequence.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be the person to pile on the ridicule, but
it was funny.
I think the best way to describe it is people were saying it was the first time they've actually watched an Olympic event and said, I could probably do a better job. Or at least at the very least, I could also do that.
Which is exactly what the Olympics shouldn't be. It's like you should be in awe.
There was no other events where I watched going, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, no, I could beat that person. I could be competitive in this. There was nothing. But I watched her routine going, give me a month and I reckon I could probably do that.
I reckon it gave me big Bali vibes at a wedding. You know, couple
beers, comes on,
courage,
and off we go.
Off to the races. You can just see the tie wrapped around someone's head while doing that exact thing. And I think that was the funniest part for me, is that like a lot of people were probably given a little bit more freedom of expression in terms of what they wore. She was like in a tracksuit, which just doesn't suit the whole vibe of like breakdancing. You know what I mean? The whole point of street culture is
you got to be like vest. Some hoodie wrapped, like tied around your waist.
Like you're not caring. She was wearing like an Australian hat, with Asics on the side. That's just like that's not giving me hip hop energy. So I mean, she's a nomination. Then we had Zhao Yakin, the Chinese gymnast who learned about the biting celebration whilst on the podium. It was her and the two other Italians who had won medals. She saw them, everyone does that celebration where they take the medal, they put it in between their teeth and they smile for the camera. She didn't know what the hell was going on, and she gripped it like it was, I don't know, a little bite out of a pie or something. But she kind of just put it in her mouth like a dummy.
It's a funny moment, like watching them going, oh.
yeah. She got it. Yeah, literally, she puts it in her mouth like it's a dummy. She doesn't bite it with her teeth.
She didn't know what was playing. It was very cute.
That was very sweet. And then Anthony Ammirati, the French pole vaulter, of course.
Was that a pun? Was that the first euphemism regarding to him?
Well, the articles I've read have called him the well-endowed French pole vaulter, who, well, just without beating around the bush. Excuse me. His dick hit the pole on his way down, and was the reason that he wasn't able to essentially clear one of his heights. He finished 12th. Could have been much better had he, been less blessed. But
what did he say? He said it is a big disappointment. I think was what his thing. I was like, well, if that's what you wanted to call it, then
Yeah. Okay, Stevie. So out of those, I think let's give our 1, 2, and 3. I think it's hard to look past the Turkish shooter in terms of the memorableness or meme-worthiness of what he's brought to this Olympics.
Yeah, I think you probably have to go. The only thing is, I'm seeing so much ray gun beams coming out of it.
Yeah, the ray gun's a hot contender actually, and she was a late one because she only came this last weekend. So she hasn't had time.
This morning I watched one which was like they had superimposed on a cricket field, and it says when you're trying to get the captain's attention to try and get a ball. And I was just like, it's just become so good,
No, Reagan.
The other one for the rugby one was like when the referee says roll away, but you got two props underneath you, dude.
No, it has been great. I think we didn't get to see her.
I think he was more iconic. I think she's more meme worthy.
True. Okay, we'll give the title to her. It's Raygun. Got to give it to Raygun, and then we'll go Turkish Sniper, and then I think followed by the well-endowed Anthony Ammirati,
who lost, but at what cost?
At what cost? He's a winner at life. And then top 3 hero moments, Stevie. Obviously, we had, I think, South Africa. We haven't actually touched on the 4x100. Unbelievable race. The youngsters, literally, we're talking 18, 19, 20, 22, and then 30.
Bayanda, they've actually just landed, by the way. They're currently at the airport as we speak. And Bayanda, they've sent a school contingent to welcome him back. But what they're not telling him is they've actually gone over there to grab him because he's actually got a prelim. This afternoon.
Yeah, as Sean Maswanganyi said, this is like his maths next week. He's got to go to university lectures, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can see that youthful joy and energy, and it seemed to have worked in our favor because they just and they spoke how they went on a camp beforehand and really gelled. But I think you mentioned people not having experience, like, well, Azza, he definitely he hasn't performed on that stage.
That must have been his first time ever running outside South Africa.
or maybe in African games, but certainly not internet or abroad, overseas, in terms of in Europe. So yeah, I mean, you have to Walaza Masongani, who moved from usually running first to the second leg and having to learn that.
Because well, I mean, you think about Bayando Olazo, who probably wasn't even set to run because Benjamin Richardson was supposed to run.
Yeah,
exactly. So he was sent over there, and he was basically getting a holiday in Paris. He was like, I'm missing school, gonna get a couple of weeks in Paris. These buggers gonna run. I'm just gonna support them and be like, woo, well done, guys, keep it up. Next thing you know, Benjamin Richardson pulls up in the 200, and he's going, oh
yeah,
oh no, because she's actually going to start. I'm up. Hey, but he went, and but
it was a beautiful moment to see Akani get his first medal. I mean, I was watching in a French fan park whilst the football was on in the Spanish versus France final gold match. And France have just scored to make it 3-2 on their comeback. So they're getting excited. And then it's in the, when they put a secondary screen in the corner. So
yes, yeah.
Myself and girlfriend Chloe, we are going absolutely, we watching it, we're like screaming, go, everyone's like looking at us like, what the fuck, we haven't scored our equalizer goal yet. They didn't know why we're celebrating. And then when we went up, we went absolutely nuts when we got that silver. It was such a special moment. But so that's definitely a nomination for hero moments, at least selfishly. Then we had Armand Duplantis, 9 world records now he's breaking now the 625. Just felt like the whole world was watching that, and he captured, everyone's. I mean, the pole vault is such a unique sport, and it's just so bizarre that someone uses a pole to fling themselves up in the air, and it was so special to see a world record broken at the Olympics. Then, obviously, the men's 100-meter final, just a blockbuster. The fact that it came to 5,000ths of a second between 1 and 2, and the fastest, final from beginning to end out of everyone. The women's winner, Julian Alfred from St. Lucia, and the scenes that went on back home. We had Kizang Lamo from Bhutan, who was the women's marathon runner, who I had the joy of running alongside as she came in. She finished an hour after the next best competitor, and other people did obviously drop out of the race, but she was literally walking. She was a broken human. It was a tough course. It was incredibly hot, but I can firmly say it was the loudest cheer of the day. And half the crowd had left, but a hell of a lot had also stayed. So that was just, for me, like a spine-tingling moment. I was almost like choking up whilst jogging beside her. When she went from her walk into her jog for her last couple 100 meters, it was just like, you wouldn't believe the noise that erupted. Then, of course, Letsile Tebogo, the rising star. He won Botswana's first ever gold, and they have now announced a public holiday for him. And when I found this out, I was shook. I mean, we both predicted that he would do well in this Olympics, but he's 21. It feels like he's been around for forever, and he speaks with such a calm head. He even said after he won, he's like, "Do you want to be the face of the day?" He's like, "No, that's for Noah Lyles, the arrogant person."
Yeah. I'm not arrogant and loud like Noah, so it can't be me.
Yeah, I love that.
Which a lot of people then had to go, because if you've ever watched his, I think it was his junior title, he smokes them, like absolutely smokes them, and he's within 20 minutes to go, he starts pointing at the camera and laughing basically as he goes.
He's so also been a bit of a showboater. He's also been a bit of a showboater. But it's a bit like Usain Bolt, showboater on the track, and off the track it's just like kind of the mellow dude. So massive shout out to him. And then of course Kalia Nemor, winning the first Algerian gold for gymnastics. She actually left France, Stevie, for Algeria, where she has her dad has heritage from. So she got that nationality approved, because what happened was the French team wanted to centralize all their gymnasts in one specific part of France to train. And she was like, well, no, I have my camp where I am, and this is where I train, and this is where my team is. I can't up and move them all. And they were like, well, then you're not going to compete, and we're going to defund those people. So she was like, okay, well, stuff you. I'm going to go represent Algeria. And then she went and won gold. So that's just an epic story for both her and Algeria. Then Nada Hafiz, the Egyptian fencer, she competed whilst being 7 months pregnant, which in a sport like fencing doesn't seem very
terrible
safe.
idea. No, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see if what the child comes and looks like, because there could be a couple of holes in there. Like,
just earring piercings, bro.
Yeah, the child's just sitting there like, imagine the child's just there in the room, wakes up this morning, it's like lekker, next thing you know, quack, quack, quack. It's like, hey.
I'm not ready.
What's going on yet?
Yeah, really. Born for battle, bro. Born for battle.
He's gonna come out swinging. He's gonna come out like, wait. Who was it? Who was it?
Yeah, literally the one sport with a sword that you get poked with. It's like, okay, that's the one I'm going to compete in.
Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, no stress.
So I guess she can be a hero. She'll be more of a hero when we realize her baby's safe. And then Alona Meyer, of course, she's been the star of women's rugby, and now has become the most followed person on Instagram. And the bronze medal that she and the women's USA Sevens rugby won earned them a $3 million investment from a prolific VC investor in the US. And geez, I mean, even when I just see that, Stevie, we've spoken a lot about investment. I'm just like, where's the person in South Africa that's just like dropping that dough? Essentially, the person said, listen, I'm giving you $1 million a year until the next Olympics. I want to see you win gold. And it's just like, yes. Like
standard 54 million rand investment.
Yeah. So
what could 54 million rand do to the women's game here?
A lot. So
although there is something I want to talk about when we get to the rugby, about the women's rugby, because it is very exciting news. So we'll talk about that a bit there.
So let's I want to hear your top 3 moments. We've got quite a few nominations there, but anything that jumps out?
First one that has to be there, I think, is Duplantis. I think in terms of like individual performance of the games, I think that for me was probably the one. In terms of like, I mean, I know he's broken the record 9 times. I mean, it's a bit childish. We all know he can jump 630, but he's not doing it yet.
And everyone also knows because he gets a kickback, he gets a monetary incentive for breaking the world record. So he's
we
just
all know this guy's
one.
Like jumping 635 in training and like 640 in training, and he's just like, he's out there. And then he
always a question I've had, and I'd love to ask Olympians is, do you run and have you let's say, are there world records that have been broken?
Yeah.
In the practice field, I'd love to know, did Usain Bolt run faster than 958?
Yeah, the problem is, and this is an interesting point, because people were talking about the fact that if you look at the 100-meter times over the last 120 years, and they were saying that despite all the technology, the tartan, the sports science, there's only like a 0.05 difference or whatever. And people are saying, so do you think, for example, if you were to put like a Noah Lyles into the old tartan type of thing, or track, and with the old spikes we had to dig holes for your starting blocks, maybe actually wouldn't be as fast. So are we actually faster? And the reason I'm making this point is the timing technology has also progressed. Back in the day, you've got a stopwatch, and you're going, and the difference between doing this versus like that is massive. Whereas these days, we're clocking how fast they're going, the exact time.
5,000. Actually, to be fair, for the eye test, Kishan Thompson would have won, I reckon, the 100-meter sprint. He would have been a world champion if it went down to an eye test.
So, and the reason I make this point is I think that's probably so. For example, you probably find we would never know if Usain Bolt could run that, because they wouldn't have had the timing technology to be able to confirm exactly that. But 625 or 625, for example, when it comes to high jump, when it comes to your javelin, which is far more measurable, I'll be very interested to know. I reckon he's jumped higher than 625 in training.
Definitely.
It was too. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, he did it in his last attempt, and it was. I mean, and the reason it's so incredible is obviously the crowd and stuff like that. But I think he's done higher in training.
Yeah. So I'm happy to throw in Duplantis there as just a moment. I think next one I love to throw into Tebogo. Honestly, I think he's been incredible. Obviously, well documented. Like the passing of his mother in the last couple months it's been a big thing for him, having her initials etched on his boots, and just a champion to make the final of the 100. And I think came 5th. Then it was the won the 200 meter,
200,
and then
the next day. The next day, he was running the heat of the 4x400.
I had the pleasure of watching him in the semi-final, and he was so fast. And I believed he was going to beat USA in the 4x400 in that last lap. But I mean, he left. That's the only time I've ever seen him tired, to be honest. I've never seen him tired in my life. And
well, to be fair, I mean, it's the only time he had to run more than like 20 seconds, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, exactly. But I think he slots into that number 2 spot, and then I'll let you take third, Stevie.
I'm probably, I don't know. I mean, I thought that the King's Lama was such a cool moment, but again, I think, you talk about the Olympics and talk about things of like it's being about things that you couldn't do and stuff like that. I think that Julian Alfred moment for St. Lucia is so cool. Yeah. For your first ever medal to be the 100-meter women's gold.
Yeah, it's
like,
special.
It's not, you didn't, no offense to other sports, but you didn't grab a medal in, some random.
It's not niche. I always say with running is the most impressive because anyone can do it. Every country in the world.
We've got the Paralympics coming up, Dan. Not everybody can do it.
Well, they are proof that everyone can do it, Steve. So I counter that argument. But yeah, I'm happy with that. So going 1 Duplantis, 2 Tebogo, and 3 Julian Alfred. Both Julian Alfred and Tebogo winning their first ever gold for their country. That's just special. And 3 failures, Stevie. Obviously, Kipchoge pulling out of the marathon. He was looking to do a 3-peat there on his first ever DNF in a marathon. Unfortunately, Noah Lyles' COVID scare and whether how factually correct
the COVID was, scare, yeah,
and why he got a bronze in the 200 meters. It's not like he actually bailed out, but he was talking so much smack before that after he won the 100
and the entrance and the whole works. And
then Ferdinand Omanyala from Kenya, he had the second fastest time in the world this year of I think a 9:79, and then ran 2:10.8 in the first and second heat, not even qualifying for the final. New Zealand Sevens coming third in the 7 series and not managing to beat a South African team who were 8th. So, really disappointing campaign for them. The Canada drone scandal. New Zealand complained that after their practice, they'd noticed some drones above head, and essentially there were 2 coaching members of the Canadian team that were found guilty of spying on them and were sent home early. So that's just a horrible look for Canada. The men's high jump off. The 1 and 2, it was a repeat, Stevie, of the last Olympics, where they looked to go they were offered 2 golds, and the American gent said, no thanks, I want to go for a jump off, and he proceeded to lose that jump off. So he got silver. So that could have been his moment. Although I think that's how things should go. I think it should always be a jump off. I don't think
11. It took them 11 jumps, 11 failures after that before they could actually determine between the 2 of them. It's quite wild.
Wow, incredible. And then the USA 4x100 relay was a horror show. And you could probably say the same for Jamaica, where they just stuffed up their baton changes so much. And they have a bit of a history of this. 2008, they dropped the baton in exchange. 2012, they were silver medalists before being stripped of that due to a doping scandal. 2016, disqualified for passing the baton outside of a handoff zone. 2020, failed to make a final following a bad exchange. And then another bad exchange in 2024.
Yeah. So, and Carl Lewis is absolutely fuming. He's been having a go at them all over Twitter about how it's been as he said, it's been a thing. How have we got? I mean, I said, for example, on Twitter that they were the ones, they basically guaranteed the gold, and somebody came and said no, but look at Netherlands in the 4x400. I was like, yeah, but, and to be fair, this is when I still thought No Lies was running. They had, I think, 5 of the top 10 fastest people in the world this year.
Yeah, it's
they
should have walked it. They should have walked it.
Nobody should have come close to them.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I also think the Jamaican 4x100 is a shout also for disappointments. I mean, to not have a Jamaica 4x100 meter relay team in the final,
shocking. Like there was no disqualification. It was just bad.
They were just slow,
just bad. So yeah, I think for me, I'll let you start us off. I think Canada has to go number 1 there, just because that's embarrassing.
That's wild.
For the drone scandal.
I think probably Canada for me. I think the men's 4x100.
USA. Yeah. Absolute flop.
My suggestion would probably then be. It's so difficult to call out my man Eliud Kipchoge.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. I'm like, I can't call him out, but you kind of have to, bro. You kind of have to.
I mean, he's run.
So sorry.
Everyone loves Eliud. Yeah.
we love him. We love him, but unfortunately, it just wasn't his day, and he had to pull out. I mean, I didn't get to see him in person, so I'm just personally sad. Because
were you there waiting for him?
Yeah, I was there waiting.
Yeah, you did see him. You saw the car drive by. Oh, he's in the car. He's in the car.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but yeah. Okay, there's our top three, and then quickly, Stevie, because we still got other sports to get onto, but we'll fly through those. The top three worst events, our nominations are football, breaking, fencing, 3-on-3 basketball, tennis, and golf. Which three are you eliminating from the Olympics if you had the choice?
Right. So my general thing is, if this is not the pinnacle of your sport, get out. So football out.
Got to go. Yeah.
Breaking.
We've been in agreement with this for a long time.
No,
got to go.
Out you go. We don't need it. You don't sit there. And we said, if you want to have football, do beach football or do five-a-side. Do a different type of thing which is unique to the Olympics. I don't need this whole 11-side. Let's pick under 23. No, get out.
Give us PP ups rather. You know.
Yeah.
Freestyle. Yeah, exactly.
You know, like so football out you go.
For me, breaking
out, but breaking out you go as well.
Breaking, shame. And they've already been announced that LA aren't going to keep them on. So
they
had their time in the sun. But
out you go.
I also don't think that was always funny, but it wasn't like respected, which is actually what you kind of more want.
No. And it's physically, and when you're done properly, it is impressive, but no, not for Olympic sport for me. Get out. I mean, the fencing. I mean, I think fencing is a very strange sport.
I found it a bit boring this time because maybe it was just the technology. I think they used to like light up more, like their whole body suit used to light up. So you could
they just make the sword sharp. And then it'll be much more entertaining.
Where's the jeopardy in fencing?
Yeah.
You know, what is it? I think fencing's tough. Fencing's there.
Fencing is also it is a pretty iconic.
Yeah, it is iconic.
Olympic sport. You know, we always talk about, I want to watch the fencing. It's like curling when it comes to.
No, it is iconic. You know? It's more of a personal vendetta for me. But I think it's more than for top 3-on-3 basketball versus tennis versus golf. Like when going back,
I think take out tennis for me because we've got the Davis Cup and we've got majors. So tennis and golf as well, I think should be gone. I think golf can stay, but change the format, make it a 2-person better ball team game type of vibe.
Yeah, and the same goes for but basketball, you shouldn't have 2 variations of the same sport there. Yeah, like I think 3v3's got to go. So we just kind of.
I mean, they could to be fair, I think there could be an argument to get rid of basketball itself. I think we need to stop having sports where it's not the peak thing. You know,
but I think it's the peak national competition. It's the biggest. They have a World Cup.
There is a World Cup.
They don't go though. They don't go because it's not worth their time. But the Olympics is that esteem to it. So then I think that's fine. So I mean, we're going to get rid of football, breaking, and tennis, and then
I think that makes the most sense. And then
and change golf and change basketball. So 3 sports we'll bring in, Stevie. Our nominations are paddle, spikeball, darts, ultimate frisbee, trail running,
kills me.
touch, and that's like the. They're like obstacle courses, and you have to go tag someone.
Used to play, I was
like
wild.
Tag rugby, or even bring in stingers or total wipeout.
No, dude, let's bring out like the schoolyard gate, like open the gate, dude. Like open gate. Let's bring out that, dude. Let's bring out open gate. Let's bring out the OG.
Or just be HIA head assessment injuries non-stop.
Dude, we would dominate open gate. Sorry, you putting in. Kirkley Orenser, Edel van der Merwe, Cheslin Colby into open gate. They wouldn't be able to touch them, dude.
Yeah.
Peter Steph the toy. Just wiping people. I'm in. Okay, cool. I'm adding that, dude.
Okay. No, but okay, we're not going to actually throw in touch, wipeout, or open gates, but it would be fun seeing that on an international stage. But from paddle, spikeball, darts, ultimate frisbee, and trail running, which one would you chuck in there?
I think paddle has to go. I think the way it's growing, and it is unreal to watch live. These guys are stupidly good. Everybody goes and plays paddle. They have a couple of good shots. They think, oh, maybe I can be good at this. And you watch it and you're like, yeah, no, never mind. I look at tennis and I think I could make it as a tennis player before I make it as a paddle player. And there are a lot more tennis players out there and far more, I think. But that paddle is unreal. So I think that for me would be such a cool addition. I mean, darts is so non-athletic, so I think that's probably my problem with darts. But it's also so much like it's become so much fun.
Yeah, it's big spectator, right?
Yeah.
But they've also kind of got their own world championship, so it kind of goes against our argument there. I'd love to see Spikeball. They do unbelievable, also unbelievable athletes, and it's like when you watch the best of the best do it, it will be insane. And I think that'll be box office. Imagine that in like a stadium, people watching, epic. And then I guess the next one is between ultimate frisbee and trail running. I don't know which one you leaning towards there.
My biggest problem with ultimate frisbee is whenever I've watched it, and I've watched the South African champs inverted commas, and I just sat there going, guys, this is not doing it for me. I think.
Have you seen the USA people, bro? They are.
But I have. But it's no. Look, I mean, again, any sport down at the absolute highest level is very impressive. I think trail running, I suppose, makes more sense from an Olympic athletic kind of point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I just think chuck in a 300k race there over a couple days, see who comes out on top. I think that's peak bloody athletic performance. But if you're worried about darts being not athletic enough, throw in a trail event.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's give it to trail then. So we got paddle, spike ball, and trail running at the next Olympics. If we were the people running the competition,